Hello everyone. So I thought I'll talk about project size. Now, when you're using Jira with a project which is for a big team, you may end up with a very big project, right? Now, I've seen projects where there are a million issues, and that is actually a lot. So I thought I'll probably talk about it and share uh, my thoughts based on, of course, my experience. Now, when you have a project in Jira, I think in most cases you should try to not let the project size grow beyond a certain point. I think, and again, there is no like straightforward answer to that, but I think if you have a project with more than 50,000 issues, then you should probably start thinking about maybe creating a different project. Now, I know that usually in Jira, people don't really treat projects as a project with a specific end date. They treat projects as a container. So that is fine. You don't really need to have a project with an end date. But I would say that if you have a team or a product or a service, and if you know for sure that your project has a lot of tickets getting created on a regular basis, then you should consider. I know it is not ideal, it is not easy, but you should consider, of course, a regular cleanup. Maybe archive your old issues. Maybe also consider moving those issues that are probably older than 2 years to a different project, right? So do those things, and of course, creating a different separate project. Right. So we were talking about a separate project in Jira. Right. So the thing is, if you have a project called as dev, this project is being used by your developers. Now everyone is aware if they have to raise a bug, they have to go to dev project. So in this case, of course, you can't really create a project for every release, or you can't really create a project for every year, right? It is possible, it is doable. People do that. I've seen it happening. Uh, I've seen, in fact, one instance where they spin up a new Jira instance for a different release, right? People do that. People are crazy, and I mean not crazy, but if they are making millions and billions, it's a small thing to do. So that is also a possibility. That is always a possibility. So what you should do is have some kind of a strategy or a thought, because if you are going to maintain your Jira instance, and big projects like projects that are more than 50,000 issues will cause issues, will definitely cause issues. For example, if you have to move things from one project to another project, maybe you want to move things from, let us say you want to move your project from one instance to another instance. I know everyone is now moving to cloud, but even if you're on cloud, when your project size is big, then movement of that project is not easy. So keep that in mind. It may not happen, but you never know, right? It can always happen. Also, reporting gets complicated. It will be difficult for your users to search, because you have to explain them that use this filter, use this criteria. If you have a separate project for every release, I mean, don't do that. I'm not really saying you should do that, but if you have a separate project for every release or every year or every product, then it is very clear for everyone. Maybe also think about when you create a project in Jira, always think about uh, some end dates. Like, don't really keep your projects open forever, right? Now, in those cases where you need to keep a project open forever, like let us say dev or support or service desk, you want to keep that same project, right? You can't just uh, easily move things and let everyone know that, yeah, this is your new project. Move the issues, like archive it, of course, but even when you archive issues, it will disappear from the search, but it is still in the system in the same project. So maybe consider doing a cleanup and getting rid of the old issues. Of course, you can't really delete things in Jira, right? but you can always move it and dump it to a different project and then archive that project, right? So there are ways to do it, and if you don't do it, nothing will happen, to be honest, immediately or in the next few months. But especially in those cases where you have a big project, you should think about it. So I thought I'll probably make a video and just initiate this conversation. I just wanted to give you a thought on this, and I know it is not always easy. It is not always straightforward. You may not always be comfortable deciding these things on your own. Of course, reach out to us. We can help you. We can look at your setup. We can try to understand your goal and your strategy and things that you're doing with Jira, and then maybe we can recommend, right? So do reach out to us, and we can definitely help you. And what else? So of course we were talking about a big project. Now I've seen instances where they actually have project with too little or too, like, not too many issues, right? And I've seen projects where in the last 2 years they've only raised 50 issues, right? So that is also not ideal, because that is of course creating, I mean, not only a mess, but it is always not ideal. So always think about whether this project really need to be a project, or it could have been an epic in your main project, right? So two big projects and two small projects, both are not ideal. Again, there is no best practice, or there is no right or wrong way of doing things in Jira. Do whatever you feel like you have to do, but always have a think about it, right? So whatever I'm talking about, I'm not really saying it is correct or it is not correct. I just want to give you this idea and share my perspective, because I have been doing these things for more than 20 years now, right? And almost 20 years, yeah, more than 20 years. So I know what will work better in most situations. So I think having a project which is too small is not really a big problem. It can be a bit annoying thing for Jira admins to maintain those projects, because there are two less projects, two less issues in it. But if you have a really big project, then that could be a problem. So I thought I'll probably talk about it and also give you some pointers. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. And by the way, I think there is an ACE event happening in Gurgaon on 2nd of August. I think that is next weekend, basically the next weekend. So I'll be there. If you're in Delhi NCR region, just message me on LinkedIn and we can catch up. All right, that is it. That is all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.